queen.
Kimukazi wayandelela, kumutamba usekelela, bati ni mukali osa mujelela, alitenda za kuletelela. Lava wina, lava sepa, abamwandi ni zimyaneba, zimyaneba, chipolo polo zimyaneba, zimyaneba, gopa queen zimyaneba, zimyaneba, balangisha bola zimyaneba, zimyaneba, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato. Abo bambiwe bakula, mulale motakwe wetakula, zambia kuchalo mupora, ifyakulusa mupora, twaiso kusende chikombe, kodine na bonze batambe, apa pale pia zambia, akaba, kwasepa, wadibaza mjaine, alashila lotulo, zani paila pote, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato, ora mingala to, chipolo polo fusho tukato. Kimukazi wayandelela, kumutamba usekelela, lasi kipatelekelela, amabola yaingira ingira, gani defense tekwesha, babula bana bachigotaleka, bapisha pasi, ibalagiresi, lusha moracho, vyapena kanshi, abamwandi ni zimyaneba, zimyaneba, chipolo polo zimyaneba, zimyaneba, gopa queen zimyaneba, zimyaneba, balangisha bola zimyaneba, zimyaneba. Esa unani, makiresi perefu, emadini katoko, kutumba, makatefu, lecho kutanani, londa chideshe, ndiyo mara mapepa, Mary Wilombe, kamote limani kocha, uruti mwate.
Mpaka kumafaino Samte Muchano Samte Muchano Samte Muchano Shipolo polo konge Konse mule Kusutende zikome Nekonga Kugune sumu Bakalisete Bakuma ololo Ulue Pake chikona tusende. Shipolo polo, derumba. Wale, shipolo polo, derumba. Wale, shipolo polo. Uchichi mwere yote ya pole. Wala kiswa mupira pole na nesa. Epa kalitete. Papangana mobila ongwa papu pampaka paka twika tevye chiko twingi sho twingi ngane tipo eba wina lelo wonka putwa geta lelo papa bulechi bikali kofa shilechi imwe bikali Yutwala kufialo vyatuletera nechikombe Chatulanga nechialo twageta nechikombe Sabla vikali yeye Iwe shipulu Ole ole kapa kwenzie Lega veshime ati zambia makeli Balange balange Chanda Lushombo mwemba Agenesi Musasa Mapepa Mazatembo Magire Tiferem Nani Ivirini Katongo Oseke Airini Rungu Kabani Zikunkushe Meri Wirombe Anita Mulenga Mole Chirenga Kazirini Musonda Iwe Kia nayo Gloria Sosara Esita Banda Esita Simbuko Iwe Judith Soko Natasha Nanyangwe Misosi Zulu Natisha Narungu Iwe Ameo Chitundu Vikongoshe
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending where you are watching us from. We are live here on Ubuntu channel on the 27th of October 2023, last Friday in the month of October. We are live today, as usual, like every Friday. We bring you a program we call Ubuntu Sports, and on the desk tonight, I'm joined by Lawrence and also by Lameck. Let me start with you, Lawrence. Good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports.
Good evening, Reuben. Just so happy to be here on such a beautiful Friday. Though the heat, obviously, the weather is not favoring us, but we are here to discuss football and matters to do with football. Good evening to everybody watching us from wherever they are in the world. We are glad that they are tuned in.
Thanks. Lameck, good evening. Welcome to Ubuntu Sports. It's an Independence Week.
Yeah, good evening, Reuben, Lawrence, and everyone watching. It's another Friday. We get to talk about a number of key issues that have been happening around Zambian football. Again, I think it being an Independence Week, a lot of other activities have been going on apart from football. But it has been an interesting week. We've received quite a number of news around the world of sports, and we can't wait to get into the details.
Great. To you, our lovely viewers, don't forget that you can also participate by typing in the comments or in the live chat if you're catching us through YouTube. This is Ubuntu channel. Let's go into the topics for tonight, shall we? We'll be looking at complaints that are coming through from various people, especially people on social media, complaining that MUZA is being favored when they play at home. And we'll be looking at the fixtures and also the results that took place last week in week 8 of the Zambian Super League, and the fixtures that will be taking place this weekend as ZSL enters week 9. But first, gents, let me bring you to the hot topic that has been going around social media and everywhere when Nkana confirmed that this year's Kitwe Derby will take place at Hero Stadium. Lameck, I know you've heard that news. What's your take?
You know, it's one news that for me, it doesn't really come as a surprise, because a club like Nkana, with their struggles that are currently going on, and the stadium ban that they have, they simply had no option but to pick a much bigger venue than the one that they are using now. We know Woodland Stadium has been their adopted home for the last few games. But again, if we look at the magnitude of the Kitwe Derby, I think the Woodland Stadium wouldn't be able to accommodate quite a number of fans. But again, going to the Kitwe Derby at Hero Stadium, I think last year we had, last season we also had suggestions of from fans that thought that the two stadia, the Davis and Nkana Stadium, were small for the Kitwe Derby. So suggestions were that maybe the fixture be moved to Dollars Levy Mwanawasa Stadium. You know, something that you know, had a lot of other issues from a lot of other members of society and members of those clubs that felt that the derby should have never been removed, should never be moved out of Kitwe. But again, this has been an opportunity for Nkana. I think this is also another unexplored opportunity to make more, I think, revenue, because if they're able to sell as much tickets as possible and manage to pull off a huge capacity crowd at Hero Stadium, for me financially that can be a game changer for Nkana. Nkana always pull the fans, but looking at the magnitude of the match, looking at the numbers in Lusaka, looking at Nkana fans in Lusaka, yes, Power Dynamos may not have that big presence as Nkana have in Lusaka, but again, we also have to look at the financial benefits for both clubs. Primarily Nkana, who are also undergoing serious financial difficulties due to the excessive traveling, them playing matches away from home, the back and forth movement have had a huge impact on their finances. So maybe the Kitwe Derby at Hero Stadium may be one of those fixtures that can help them correct their finances. But you know, I think a lot is expected from that match, and we'll wait and see. I don't know, Lawrence, what do you think?
Well, for me, Lameck, I can say that it's not so much of a surprise. I think if you remember, I think it's earlier this year when we had the most recent Kitwe Derby, we were discussing about why they keep on moving this particular game to bigger venues. We were talking about how we should have seen clubs benefit from home advantage and things like that. I'm sure you remember this discussion we had. And to see that these guys have, knowing that Nkana actually cannot play in Kitwe, they're having their home matches played in Lusaka. And this time around, they have managed to pull their opponent in this particular fixture to Lusaka, and going to Hero Stadium, I think does not make much of a difference, bearing in mind that Nkana are already not playing at home. So it's not really much of a shocker, but I think it makes a good venue when you use Hero Stadium for TV coverage, for crowd pulling and all that. So I really feel, I really agree with you, especially when you talk of the finances that Nkana is so much in dire need of. that being an opportunity for them to pull as many people as possible and add as much money as possible to their coffers. So it's not really much of a surprise. It's a good move. I think on this one, I can bear with Nkana when it comes to venue changes, bearing in mind that, like I've said earlier on, they are already not playing at home.
Lawrence, just a follow-up. Yes, they're not playing at home, but this makes it more like a neutral ground now for both teams. Do you think Power Dynamos might capitalize on that?
Let's just be honest with ourselves here. Already Nkana is playing at a neutral venue. All their home matches, in short, are being played at a neutral venue. That is what they're up to. Remember, this is a Kitwe-based team, and all their fans, majority of their fan base, actually, you expect the majority of their fan base to be in Kitwe. I don't know how many manage to travel every week for their games when they are playing at home. I don't know how many manage to do that. Bearing in mind the fact that we already have expensive bus fares at this point in time when the fuel prices have really gone high. So if we can look at their home games, you can call all of them actually being played at a neutral venue. So I don't think Hero Stadium changes anything much, especially that if we can count on all those fans that are based in Lusaka who go on every week to cheer for them when they are playing at their newfound home. They can still manage to be at Hero Stadium. I don't think it's much of a change, Reuben.
Lameck, you've heard Lawrence's submission. Do you agree with him?
Well, I agree with what Lawrence has said. Again, this derby, again, we need to look at the financial side. We need to focus on the numbers, because in as much as it is a huge game, everyone wants to be part of it. Again, we need to make sure that financially the numbers are positive for Nkana, looking at how they've been struggling. And I hope the Nkana management can go all out in marketing this match, so that they are able to tap into those huge populations surrounding the Hero Stadium. For me, it's not a bad venue for the match. I think it's a standard venue. Yes, we may have to argue about it being a neutral turf for both teams. So, but it's a 50-50 chance. Any of the two teams can walk away with a win if they apply themselves better than their opponents. So, in as much as people may feel maybe Nkana is at a disadvantage, but it's also Power again who are at a disadvantage because they have to travel all the way and then play the match. So a lot to say, but I think so far we'll wait and see.
All right. So when we look at when you look at the previous game that was played at Arthur Davison, remember this is what actually caused Nkana to be banned. What different approach should Nkana make here? Because of course, being a derby, there's always that that excitement from the fans to do anything just to make it so that all the rival players or the rival fans should also feel this is a derby, and you will see fights erupt or maybe things being thrown in the stadium, disrupting the flow of the game. What approach should Nkana take? Because now if we see fights in the stadium, something different might come up in terms of sanctions. Maybe an extension even next season. They might be playing at Woodland Stadium. Lameck.
So the Kitwe Derby at Hero Stadium will be Nkana's last match in Osaka. After that, they'll be returning back to Chilata, but this time without fans, as per what the ban says, because they had 3 months to play their matches in Lusaka, which is they were not only limited to playing in Lusaka, but were told to play at least 60 kilometers away from Nkana Stadium. which they'll be completing by the time they're playing Power Dynamos. So again, we look at, for me, I try to focus on the numbers, because again, it's a numbers game. For Ghana, if they market this match really well, their numbers will be, it may not be full, but a few positives and negatives, especially on the positive side. I think they may get so a number of positives. But we can't take away anything from Ghana. In as much as they are struggling, a lot has been going on in the background, and hope by the time they're playing the derby, they may have the team all together and ready to help.
All right, Lawrence. My question was, look, Nkana, the reason why they're banned, why they're playing in Lusaka, is because the time they played the derby with Power, we saw how unruly the fans became. Nkana fans became. Now they have another chance to play the derby. They are away from home. They're playing it at Levy. What cautions or measures should they put in place that what happened at Arthur Davison is not repeated at Hero Stadium?
First and foremost, I would love to believe that majority of the Nkana fans are not going to be there, because the game is being played. We are talking about about 400 kilometers away from their home. That is number one, Reuben. So I don't think even those who manage to travel from Kitwe to Lusaka will be able to cause much trouble in a place where they are not home. These are not familiar grounds for them. This is a place where they are coming in, especially for the fans as visitors. I don't think they should be able to cause so much problems in a place where they're not so familiar with. I don't think, I think part of the reasons why we've seen problems with fans in Kitwe between these two clubs, that's Power Dynamos and Nkana, is because these two are actually familiar foes. They know each other inside out. Their grounds, their stadiums are just a few kilometers apart. You talk of fans, these are people who actually even meet each other in the streets, mocking each other when one of the sides loses, and the winning team obviously are grabbing the bragging rights in town when they meet their opponents, reminding them of how much they beat them, things like that. But here, I don't think that should be much of a problem. But I think as precautions, we should see enough security in place. I think these are things that should be mandatory and should be there. You just cannot predict if there's going to be commotion at a football match or not. But as clubs, we should make sure that there is enough security to man the whole game, the whole event, not only football, every other event. But that being said, I don't really expect much trouble when you look at this fixture this time around, but I expect that enough security is in place. I think that is even one of the recommendations that was given to Power Dynamos after the fracas that caused all these problems for Ghana.
All right, we need to move on to another topic, but at this point, let me welcome Joseph. Joseph, welcome to Want to Sports. Thanks for joining us this evening. Joseph, are you able to hear us? All right, we can't hear Joseph, but let's look at another topic, shall we? We've heard of a lot of stories that when MUZA is playing at home, most of the referees tend to favor them. They either give an offside or they give a penalty, and this has been the news going round and round over social media for some time now. Let me start with you, Lameck. You've followed MUZA closely. You've watched MUZA at home. Accusations of referees favoring them. What's your take? And we've not seen any evidence of that. We just hear people saying MUZA is favored, but no video evidence whatsoever.
I think that argument by clubs can't be substantiated because most teams that come to Mazabuka come with a defeated mindset. They go into the match thinking, no, we will face it difficult with the officials. So there's that tendency to tend to overreact to certain decisions by the ref that are very normal. There's a tendency of, crying foul play when maybe sometimes the penalty was genuine, the offside was genuine. For MUZA, I think they're a club that has been on the rise, that is still on the rise, I mean. A lot of positives to pick from their story. If we look at their performances on the field, away from home, they're managing to get a result. They're still unbeaten after 8 matches. That's a statement of intent. How many teams in the ZSL are not yet beaten? It's only MUZA. So that talks about their character, how much character they have. In as much as people want to talk about the referee, but the referee can only do so much. The football should be played by the players. And the players, looking at the input that they put in for FC MUZA, I think they deserve what they have so far. They deserve to be second because they've been solid, they've been pushing. So for me, MUZA buying referees, it's not something that I would even want to push for or against because it can't be substantiated. MUZA play football that every other team plays, but they're just a better team compared to who they were in the past.
All right, Lawrence, I'm sure you've heard the news, you've heard the complaints. One of the teams that was complaining was Forest Rangers. We saw a video that was circulating when Mufulira Wanderers went there last week. They lost the game 1-0, but there was a fracas with the referee, the officials for Mufulira Wanderers and the referee. There was a fracas. We saw the video clip. Wanted to hear from you. Do you think MUZA referees are being favored by MUZA when they're playing at home?
It's quite laughable sometimes when you hear some of these complaints. First and foremost, I wish that we could have all the games that are played in the Zambia Super League televised. I think that would give us a very good opportunity to analyze even the match officials as they carry out their duties in some of these games. Unfortunately, for some games they are not televised. There is no evidence. They will not find the clip. You will not find nothing. There is nothing. So you just hear it by the word of mouth. For some games, of course, SuperSport does the honors, and we are proud of that. Now, coming to your question, Reuben, I think for me, first and foremost, I believe that when we talk of home advantage, it actually involves a lot. A referee should feel intimidated. That is a good home ground. A referee should even feel intimidated to make some decisions against the home team. There are some coaches, there are some home grounds that will even put a referee under pressure to even make some calls. I think, Reuben, we can go back. If I can give a good example of how Barcelona was, talk of the 2008, 2009s, around that period, where if you are going to play Barcelona at Camp Nou, you know that you're going to have a very big challenge when it comes to officiating and some decisions. So 50-50 decisions in most cases would go to Barcelona, who were the home team at that point in time. You can talk of Manchester United when Alex Ferguson was the manager there. A lot of referees will actually tell you that when they were going there in the time of Ferguson, they would even know that we are going to have a tough time, because he would tell the referees off when they make decisions that he was not even proud of himself. But that being said, does not mean that I'm saying that actually MUZA have it their way. I don't think I've seen enough to agree with those assertions. I don't think I have been given enough evidence, whether in written or in visual form or anything, that suggests and actually convinces me that that is the case. But that being said, I think the narratives about MUZA have been quite interesting. You remember last year where they used to say, when you go to MUZA, there was juju, there was this. These are narratives that have come before, that have come to the fore, and somehow, somewhere, I don't know why this narrative of juju at the MUZA stadium there being present has died out, and now another narrative is coming up. I think it's making me have so many second thoughts about all these narratives. I think we should appreciate MUZA for what they have managed to achieve. We should appreciate MUZA for being a team that has come from nowhere to being one of the heavyweights in the league. Let's just give kudos and honors where it is due. MUZA is unbeaten, whether home or away, in this season currently as we speak. I think it says quite a lot. If MUZA at home is supported by referees, fine. Who has managed to beat them away? No one so far, and that should tell us a lot. I want us to be in a place whereby we are encouraging quite these teams, especially teams that are coming from nowhere, to perform even better. We can also talk over the fact that we do not have VAR in Zambia. So the referee decisions, sometimes they come with mistakes and all that. But I don't think it only happens at MUZA, if at all it has happened. Everywhere else in the country, all these teams have been beneficiaries of mistakes at some point. And they have also been affected by mistakes at some point. So I think it's a 50-50. It's a thing of give and take, Reuben.
All right. I hope now Joseph is back. Joseph, we're talking about the allegations that are going around on social media, and some clubs actually are complaining, but they have not complained to FAS. I've not seen any complaint to FAS saying referees are favoring MUZA every time they're playing at Nakambala Stadium. Joseph, wanted to hear your analysis and also your position on this matter. Sorry, I can't hear Joseph. Anyone, can you hear Joseph?
Unfortunately, he is not audible. I can tell that he's trying to say something, but I think network is not on his side.
All right. Maybe the director can also give us the log table so that we can do and also analyze what is before us. 8 games played so far in the Premier League. No one with a game in hand. Everyone has played the 8 games, and Red Arrows is on top. Did you expect that, Lawrence?
Well, I think this is a case of the ZAF sponsored side finding themselves on top of the log. But I think time will come when they'll start dropping the numbers. I really didn't expect them to be where they are right now, but I must actually admit and say that their football has been impressive this season. We saw them picking up a win in the first game, and I was thinking, well, it's one of those probably things will start turning around, but they kept a run of 3 games before they lost a match, and then ended up also having some brilliant results in their favor. I must say that I'm pretty much impressed with Red Arrows, I should say, and it's been a good start for them. But I don't think they'll manage to keep it going for maybe half of the season. We should see them dropping in the ranks.
big prediction there from Lawrence. Lameck, you've heard, is saying Red Arrows might start dropping points, and he's not seeing them winning the league. All right, seems Lameck has got an issue there. Lawrence, let's look at Power Dynamos. These are the defending champions, but it seems like Formers has lost their way. 2 losses in the last 2 games for the defending champions.
The challenge has always been when these sides, I think we spoke about it before the season even started, Reuben. We spoke about these continental fixtures and how they tend to affect our teams in the league. They had to play some games on continental games on Saturday before having to play their league fixtures probably on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday the following week, and factor in sometimes the travelings, the fatigue from travelings and all that. I think it will always have a negative toll on the team. Power Dynamos, I think now that they are out of the CAF Champions League, I expect them to pick up some bit of momentum going forward, because they have to fight for their place in the top of the log, where they have to go back to a CAF competition. That is, they have to finish either first or second. So that makes everything interestingly challenging for them, but they should be able to pick up some bit of momentum. Reuben, I love this fact that sometimes coming out of the CAF tournaments can be a blessing in disguise for some of these teams, because we know very well that they usually have challenges in progressing in the Champions League, but it also starts affecting the form in the league. So I expect that this time around, Power Dynamos should start picking up momentum.
All right, I'm sure Lameck is back. Lameck, 8 weeks of Zambian Premier League, 8 games played. Red Arrows is on top of the league, and looking at Power Dynamos, they've lost 2 games. Seems they've lost form. They're not scoring as they used to last season. What do you make of the 8 games played, 8 weeks of Zambian Super League so far?
I think it's been a busy and competitive 8 weeks for all teams. We've seen other teams start strongly. Others have slumped over the last few matches. Look at Power Dynamos in 7th position on 12 points. Red Arrows has built, a strong team for themselves, and then they're pushing to maybe win the league again. And then
Lawrence has submitted that they can't win the league. They'll start dropping points at midway of the season.
No, but Red Arrows has actually improved on what they had last season. They had a good team last season, but they've added, I think, 3-4 key players to the squad. So that has just increased their depth.
I think MUZA will win the league this season.
Yeah, MUZA can also go all, as long as they do the right thing, as long as they apply themselves very well, and then take each game as it comes. Then surely, what can stop a club like MUZA from winning the title? But again, it's about competition. It's about the big clubs, because the status of the big clubs potentially has an effect on a lot of other things. So we may see the big boys slowly by slowly, closing in on the top 4 and maybe picking positions in the top 4.
All right, great. Let's look at the teams that are in red. Prison Leopards, Konkola Blades, Trident, and Nkana. These are teams that we look at. When you look at teams like Nkana and Prison Leopards, these are teams that have been playing in the Super League for some time now. Concola Blades, yes, coming back from the lower divisions, and Trident. In your predictions, Lawrence, which team do you think will survive relegation from the teams that are in red so far?
I'll tell you one thing, Reuben. Before I even answer you, when I look at teams like Prison Leopards and Nkana being where they are, and teams that are expected to be where these two are teams like Mutondo Stars, who are actually comfortably sitting in 5th position. And I tend to wonder what exactly is happening. But I'm beginning to lose hope for Nkana, because when I look at them, 8 games without a victory, I think is something that is really, really, really shocking and also scary. I'm not sure if Nkana is able to pick themselves up in the next 8 games, and should pick up at least 5 wins to be able to at least give themselves a chance. But I don't see that happening anytime soon. Their pattern has been consistent in the last 5 games, or last 6 games, Reuben. If you can see, look at the form of Nkana, it's been consistent pattern. Draw, lose, draw, lose, draw, lose, and you'll be tempted to predict that the next game will be a draw, if that works. But I don't know how they should be able to pick themselves up. I can imagine morale in camp is at all-time low, where they also are doubting themselves if they will be able to win a game or something like that. This is where Nkana is. But Nkana, if there is one team that again you can look at in those of those 4 in red that has the experience of turning things around, I think Nkana should be one of them. It gives you a puzzle. On the other hand saying that it's very difficult for them. It's they are at their all-time low and things like that. But again, when you look at that list, the team that is able to turn things around is Nkana. So it makes you a little bit confused and all that, and very difficult to talk about them. But it should be very tricky if Nkana was to be maintained in those red slots and drop down. I think it would be a very sorry state for Nkana, being one of the powerhouses, and I don't know how they'll even be able to fight with their neighbors for the Kitwe Derby, which will not be there next year in the league. I think it makes everything a little bit interesting. That is one thing we should be watching out for, Reuben.
Great. Lameck, what's your prediction over the teams in red? Prison Leopards, Concola Blades, Trident, and Nkana. Which team might pull up from the red zone?
I think Leopards, Nkana will pull out of the red zone. Congola Trident looks difficult, but let's see what they have to offer us.
Great. Let's turn into the fixtures for tomorrow. And interesting enough, Lawrence, it's a relegation battle. Prison Leopards welcome Nkana at home.
Yeah, at this point in time, I'm sure all the bookies would favor Prison Leopards at this point, because at least they have managed to pick up a win somewhere, and been able to match the draws that have been picked up by Nkana. But if I was to be really, really, really honest with myself here, I think these are matches that you always predict as draws, because these are two teams that are all in all struggling, and you don't know who is going to outscore the other here. Really, draw is a safe zone for me.
Safe zone for you. Lameck, do you think now Nkana may start turning up their season that have started poorly so far by beating Prison Leopards at home?
Yes, Nkana can beat I think Ghana stand a good chance to beat Prison Leopards over the weekend. I think they are en route to pick their first win of the season. It's been difficult times, yes, but I think I'm rooting for Ghana. I think a result is possible.
All right. Let's send our focus to the log leaders, Red Arrows. They are away to Concola Blades, and they want to maintain the lead. Do you think you will carry the day? Concola Blades also wants to turn up the season and move out of the red zone, but Red Arrows want to maintain the lead. Lameck, who do you think will carry the day
here? I think Red Arrows will carry the day. They have everything you can ask for from the team. For Concola, they need to go back to the drawing board, see where they've done it wrong, and then try to make corrections.
Wow, a big there. Lawrence, an easy win for Red Arrows against Concola Blades.
Yeah, should be an easy win for Red Arrows. I think these are points they should be collecting, maximum points at this stage. If they are to even think of extending their stay at the top, remember they are just a point ahead of MUZA, who are really, really breathing on right on their necks. So if they are to maintain their top spot, these are games that they should be really, really, really relishing and picking up maximum points before you can even talk of meeting the bigger foes in the league.
Another two teams that are struggling in Green Eagles and Trident, they meet at Choma Independence Stadium, one of your favorite stadiums, Lameck. Who do you think is going to carry the day here? Both teams really need to win because Green Eagles, if they lose, Prison wins, Green Eagles might go into the red zone.
Yeah, I think for that one, for me, it's Green Eagles. Green Eagles at home, I think they've had some good form. Yes, they haven't won all the matches, but at home they've shared quite some good form recently. And for Trident FC that is playing against a club like Green Eagles, it's another tough match for Trident FC because they are playing a club that hasn't won. Trident on the other side have also not won. I mean, they are playing against a Green Eagles side that is playing with a lot of pressure. Yes, they've managed to win 2 matches so far. They've lost 4. So they're playing with a lot of pressure. The coach is under a 3-match, ultimatum, which will be expiring against Trident. So Green Eagles players will feel maybe they may need to play for the coach. They will throw their hearts out and try and get a decent result for the coach.
There's also a new coach at Trident, Lameck.
Yeah, and the new coach at Trident, Albert Kachinga,
yeah,
who did some good works with Prison Leopards. So, maybe under the Kachinga era, Trident may pick up their first win, which they brought him for, to help them survive relegation. And the job has started for Kachinga and Joseph Musonda. We wait and see what they have in store for us. But tomorrow's match, it won't be easy for both teams. To be a tough match.
A tough match. Let me shift to Lawrence. Lawrence, I want to take you to the game that will be played on Sunday. Power Dynamos is at home at Arthur Davison Stadium, hosting Zanaco. Zanaco coming from a big win, winning at home by 3-0, beating Concola Blades. Power Dynamos, like we've said, they're coming from 2 losses, and they would want to turn the season around, pick up points, and maybe qualify for Continental. Who do you think will win this match? It's Power Dynamos and Zesco and Zanaco, sorry.
Well, this is obviously the game of the weekend. I think it's a fixture of the weekend. We have a good clash of it, what I can call a clash of the Titans here. We are looking at two teams that have got a huge reputation when it comes to Zambian football. Two teams that have really done well, have represented Zambia at continental level, and all those things. Give them the credentials; they deserve all of them. But on this particular one, I think Zanaco are really not really up to standard when it comes to football. I think there is something really off about Zanaco so far, and I expect those issues to be ironed out. But we can also look at Power Dynamos, as you mentioned, Ruben, that are coming from two consecutive defeats. Of course, one of them being from the continental game they played away from home, where they went to lose in Tanzania. Um, uh, Looking at that, I think it's a chance for them to bounce back because this time around they have no much excuse of not delivering. Remember, they have to focus on the league once again because continental football is done and dusted. They are out right in the early stages of the showpiece itself. So I really give it to Power Dynamos, who actually will be at home even. I think they should carry the day, looking at Zanaco having not been up to standard this far.
All right. Let me thank you, Lawrence and Lameck, for coming through for this episode of Ubuntu Sports. We need to say our goodbyes. Enjoy your week 9 of the Zambian Super League. Interesting games that will be played tomorrow and also Sunday. Make sure you watch local. Find time if you're near the stadium to watch Zambian football. Support your team. Make sure you make it to the stadiums and watch your team. This is where we end today's episode of Ubuntu Sports. Join us next week at the same time. It's Ubuntu Sports, and bye-bye from us. Bye.